Look, I know you didn't actually anticipate opening a second bottle tonight. You had a plan this time, a real one, a glass with dinner. That's it. Sounded reasonable and responsible, and it's something that you told yourself that you would do this morning with confidence and conviction. But then 5 o'clock rolls around and you open wine, and somehow between the first glass and the second one, you stopped making decisions and just started pouring. And now you're here watching this video and you're asking yourself the same question that you've been asking longer than you probably want to admit. Why can't I stop at just one? Well, I have an answer for you, and I promise it is not what you think. My name is Christie. I am the Catholic sobriety coach, and I've been coaching women through this for years and living in freedom from alcohol for even longer. And I want to tell you something right up front. I never once in my entire drinking life had one drink, not once. I didn't even know what that felt like. I had absolutely no off switch, and I never did. So when my clients come to me asking why they can't stop at one, I don't just understand that question intellectually. I understand it in my bones because I've lived it. But here's what I've learned from years of coaching women through this and from everything that neuroscience now tells us about how the brain actually works. The reason that you can't stop at one has nothing to do with your willpower, nothing to do with your discipline, and nothing to do with your faith. But it has everything to do with what your brain has been trained to do. And once you understand that, the whole thing starts making a lot more sense. So in this video, I'm going to show you 3 things. First, how the wine industry spent over 2 decades training your brain to crave exactly what you're craving right now. Second, what's actually happening in your brain and body when that craving hits at 5 p.m. and why one glass almost never satisfies it. And third, what your soul is actually looking for underneath all of it, because I promise you it is not the wine. So let's get into it. Point number 1, how your brain got here. Here's something I don't think it's talked about enough. For over 2 decades, women have been absolutely bombarded in a very specific message about wine. It was on mugs. It was on kitchen signs. It was on tea towels. It was in the memes shared in every mom's group and book club and girls' night chat. Mommy needs wine. You had me at Merlot. Wine a little, laugh a lot. It was everywhere, and it was aimed specifically at women, just like you. Educated, faithful, hardworking, disciplined women who were just carrying a lot and being told in 1,000 small ways that wine was the sophisticated, socially acceptable, and even a funny way to cope with it. That wasn't an accident. That was a marketing campaign, a very long and effective one. And here's what it did to your brain without you even realizing it. It created an association, a deep, repeated, culturally reinforced connection between reward and rest and wine and belonging and wine and permission to finally exhale and wine. Your brain didn't decide to just crave wine in the evenings. It was taught to over the years and that cultural messaging. And that's what I did for women like you, using it to unwind, to celebrate, and to cope. And then one day you noticed that you were thinking about it at 3 p.m. and then 2 p.m. And then you were planning your grocery run around it and telling your husband to pick some up and feeling the low hum of anxiety on the nights when there wasn't any in the house. And you thought, what is happening to me? What happened to you is not a character flaw, and it's definitely not a spiritual failure. It's the entirely predictable result of years of conditioning, combined with something that was happening in your brain the entire time that nobody ever explained to you. And that's what I'm going to explain to you right now. So, point number 2, what's actually happening in your brain at 5 p.m.? Your brain runs on patterns. It is extraordinarily good at identifying sequences that have led to reward in the past and then automating them so that you don't have to think about them consciously anymore. This is actually a feature, not a bug. It's how you drive to work without thinking about it, how you make coffee in the morning on autopilot. It's how you function in this complex world without having to consciously decide every little tiny, minute detail. But it's also how habits form, including this one. And here's how it works. There's a cue. Maybe it's 5 p.m., maybe it's baking dinner or walking in the front door or even opening the refrigerator. Your brain recognizes that cue and immediately fires off a craving because it has learned through hundreds and hundreds of repetitions that this cue is followed by wine. And wine means reward. But here's the part that most people don't know, and this is the part that is going to change how you understand your own experience. Your brain doesn't just release dopamine when you drink. It actually starts releasing dopamine the moment you start thinking about drinking. The anticipation itself is the reward, which means that every time you think about wine at 3 p.m., every time you mentally plan to stop at the store or imagine yourself pouring that glass at the end of the night, your brain has already been getting a little hit of what it's looking for. And that feels good enough to keep thinking about it, which gives you another little hit, which keeps you thinking about it even more. You see how that works? So by the time 5 p.m. actually arrives, your brain has been in this reward loop for hours. It has been anticipating, craving, and getting small dopamine hits from the anticipation most of the afternoon. And then the bottle is open and the glass is poured, and one glass into your brain is not satisfied. It's activated. It got a taste of what it was promised, but now it wants even more. That is why one glass doesn't work for you. Not because you're weak or you don't have any self-control, but because neurologically speaking, one glass just doesn't complete the loop for most of us. Your brain has been running since 3 p.m. and it just makes that craving louder. And this is also why having a plan in your head is usually not enough. By the time you're standing at the counter with an open bottle, the decision has basically already been made. Not by your conscious mind, but by a neural pathway that is so well worn, so deeply established through repetition that it runs almost completely on autopilot. You didn't fail your plan. Your plan didn't account for neuroscience. And that's not your fault because nobody ever told you that this is what was happening. Now, before I get to point 3, which is honestly where all this comes together, I want to make sure that you have something concrete to take away from this video. I have something called the Sacred Sobriety Kick Start. It's 5 short videos that I created specifically for the woman who is starting to understand that this isn't just about wine. It's going to help you get clear on what's actually driving your habit and give you a real framework for beginning to change it without labels, without shame, and with your faith right at the center of it. And the best part is it's free and it's linked below. Grab it and then come back because point 3 is the most important thing I'm going to say in this entire video. Okay, point 3, what your brain is actually looking for and where to find it. So here's the question underneath the question. If your brain learned to associate wine with reward, rest, relief, belonging, coping, what was it actually looking for in the first place? Not the wine. The wine is just a tool. It's just the delivery mechanism, what your brain was looking for. What it is still looking for at 5 p.m. every single day is something genuinely good. Rest, real rest, not the kind that wears off after 20 minutes and leaves you foggy, feeling a little ashamed. We're talking about actual rest. Relief, not the chemical illusion of relief that alcohol provides and simultaneously disrupts with your sleep and anxiety and the mental load and pressure and all of that mixed together. Belonging, not just to loosen you up, but that actual connection, the feeling of being fully known and fully loved anyway. And permission to stop, permission to put it all down for a few hours, permission just to be a person and not the manager of everything and everyone around you. Your brain is not broken for wanting these things. Those things are good. They're holy things even. God designed you to need rest and connection and relief and the freedom to just be. The problem is not the desire. The problem is where you've been going to meet it. Because here's what I know after coaching women through this for years. The woman who is reaching for wine at 5 p.m. almost never is actually thirsty for wine. She's thirsty for something real, something that actually satisfies, something that doesn't wear off in 20 minutes and leave her reaching for more. And as a Catholic woman, you have access to something that can give you what you're looking for. Adoration. Sitting in stillness in the presence of God is one of the most neurologically settling things a human body can do. Your nervous system actually calms. The stress hormones, they actually drop, and the mental noise starts to quiet, not because of a chemical, because of presence. Prayer is another thing that can help you. It's an actual exhale, a real conversation with a God who already knows what you're carrying and is not waiting for you to have it all together before he meets you there. You're wanting community, real belonging, the kind that doesn't require a drink in your hand or to feel comfortable, the kind where you are known and loved as yourself, not as the polished version of yourself, you present in the world. The church has been offering these things for 2,000 years, not as supplements to your coping strategies, as the actual source of what your soul needs. The wine culture told you what you needed at 5 p.m. was in a bottle. It wasn't. That was a lie. What you need at 5 p.m. is what you've always needed, and it is available to you right now without a glass. The next time you feel that 3 p.m. pull, that low hum of anticipation, that already thinking about it feeling, I want you to do one thing. Just pause for 60 seconds and ask yourself, what am I feeling? What do I actually need right now? Not what your neural pathway is telling you need, not what 2 decades of wine memes told you that you deserve. What are you genuinely looking for in this moment? Because that answer, that honest, specific answer is the beginning of everything. You are not fighting a character flaw. You are interrupting a pattern, and patterns can be changed. Not through gritting your teeth or trying harder, but through understanding what's actually driving them and giving yourself something real instead. That is what freedom looks like. That is what is available to you. If this video helped you start to think of your habit differently, then watch the next video. It's called Jesus Drank Wine, so why does it feel different for me? Because now that you understand what's happening in your brain, I want to show you what your Catholic faith actually has to say about all of it. And I promise it is not what you're expecting. I'll link it right here. And if you're ready to go deeper today, grab the Sacred Sobriety Kick Start below. 5 days, real clarity, your faith, your brain, and your freedom all in one place. I'll see you in the next video.